This doesn't directly involve the Vikings, but it kind of does, and I'll explain. Uh, Big trade, kind of crazy trade in the NFL today. The Dolphins traded with the 49ers. 49ers traded 3 first-round picks to move up to the third spot in the draft. Um, I think they're taking a quarterback for that reason. Um, Whoever they take, probably that Wilson or somebody. But um, it sort of affects the Vikings only because there had been a lot of talk. I mean, the talk had certainly died down, but there had been a lot of talk that the Vikings were going to trade Kirk Cousins to the 49ers, or at some point, Kirk was going to end up with the 49ers. That Sorry, Kirk haters and the derangement syndrome people, that dream is dead. That sailed. Get used to it. Um, it was not. I didn't think it was ever going to happen, but it was about the only place that had ever been talked about. Um, Maybe him being traded. That's dead. Deal with it. Like, so that's kind of how it affects the Vikings. Like, it's done. Kirk is here. You got to just deal with it now. You know, it's not a problem, but you got to deal with it. And it just shows again. You know, if you want to be a serious player in having a quarterback, this is what it costs. Like, it either costs money or it costs, you know, mega draft capital, unless somebody kind of just falls into your lap. And people are going to be mad. Like, people are already mad. Like, why didn't the Vikings do this? Because it might be a really stupid trade. I mean, look, the 49ers are in a decent position. I think the 49ers will be back in the playoffs next year. But, you know, like, that's a lot to give up. And they, I'm not as down on Garoppolo as some people, but I mean, he has hurt a lot. But I mean, they're very literally mortgaging their future, at least their near future, to presumably take a flyer on a college quarterback who you have no idea if he's going to be good. I don't care what the hype train says about Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, any of them, Trey Lance, any of them. You don't fucking know. We don't know. Maybe all these guys who are going to go in the first round this year are all going to be superstars. But there's a much better chance that like half of them are busts. And it could be that the 49ers just did the dumbest thing they could do, which is, mortgage their future for a bust. And, you know, everyone's always got the fantasy, the like, you're gonna, like you're gonna go to Vegas and win and beat the house, and you're gonna, become rich. Well, most people don't end up that way, and most people don't end up that way in the NFL if they're chasing the quarterbacks. You know, like Vikings fans who are like envious of what the 49ers did right now are really dumb. Like, the 49ers, look, they took an enormous risk. Maybe it'll pay off, but the odds are that whichever quarterback they end up drafting, he's not going to be worth what they've given up to get him. And that's just the reality. And like, it's something with NFL fans and this fan base and probably other fan bases. They want to just constantly go all in on something new, something flashy. And most of the time it doesn't work out. And, it's, of course, made all the more ridiculous knowing that we have a really good quarterback who's still got prime years left. And this whole fan base has just been whining about wanting to move on and wanting to just, forego whatever, prime years Kirk Cousins has left to just mortgage everything on some college quarterback who you have no idea if he's going to be any good at all. Maybe he'll be just an average quarterback. Maybe he'll be a bust. Maybe he'll be a superstar. There's a big range in there, and I'm just not the type who wants to do it. Now, if we had, you know, a bad quarterback, okay, that's one thing, but we don't. This fan base refuses to admit it to a large degree, but we've got a damn good quarterback. And maybe the 49ers will end up with a damn good quarterback out of this. Who knows? But, it's like, this is kind of what it takes. Like, unless you happen to have a really bad season and happen to essentially have a quarterback fall in your lap, or you got to go out and get one. You got to pay one, or trade for one, I suppose. But it's hard to get a really good quarterback because there's a lot. Everyone's going for him. So when you have one, just fucking appreciate that you have one. Like it's the least of our worries right now with who we have a quarterback. And I'd rather be what the I'd rather be in the position the Vikings are right now than the position the 49ers are in right now, because the 49ers have just, like I said, they mortgaged their future to draft, I'm guessing it's Zach Wilson, but and they don't know how it's going to go. And if it goes badly, if they've just traded 3 first-round picks to take a bust quarterback, that's their asses, because that's their franchise for a long time. And I guess it's a difference of philosophy. I'm not for it. When you have a really good quarterback like the Vikings do, work with that. Don't don't turn around and mortgage a huge part of your future on a pie in the sky hope that you might get some college guy who's going to be an upgrade, and maybe just a minor upgrade. But so again, it doesn't really affect the Vikings in any way. I don't think it affects the draft stuff for them, but it's kind of just an interesting thing to look at from a Viking perspective, because there were a lot of rumors about Cousins going to the 49ers. I don't know if there were any firm rumors that there had been any real discussions about it, but that's not going to happen now. So you Kirk haters, the derangement syndrome people, you're stuck. But it's a good place to be stuck, because we have a really good quarterback for this year and for next year, and hopefully for some years beyond that. So, and we will still have our draft picks as well to build around.